Welcome into another edition of What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakely. On this week's program, big changes coming to Innisfil Beach Park. We'll do some exploring. We walk the beat with South Simcoe Police Chief John Van Dyke, get saddled up for the Kempenfelt Derby, and learn how you can be part of an intimate backyard audience with Canadian rockers 5440. Conversation starts after this. This is What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakely, walking the beat again with South Simcoe Police Chief John Van Dyke. Your officers, along with others across the country, fully engaged last week for Road Safety Week in Canada. I remember seeing the OPP serving up some stats suggesting that a majority of deaths last year on roads they patrol could have been prevented if drivers had been driving safely and passengers had been riding safely. I suspect you could probably say the same.
Absolutely. People, they're out there driving in our community. They're often in a rush, in a hurry to get places. Inattentive, they may be on their cell phone, distracted, like I said, rush to get somewhere, and they're speeding or they're rolling through stop signs and even red lights. So that's why we have collisions. Yeah,
and they've got some red light cameras in Innisfil now too, or speed cameras in Innisfil.
We have speed cameras in both Innisfil and Bradford West Goldenberry, and a red light camera in the town of Innisfil.
And how are they working out?
As far as I know, very good. They're not run by the police service. They're controlled and administered through both municipalities.
It's funny because I've driven past them myself now and again, and you see people who are aware of them slow right down. And then you've got people behind them who aren't aware, who want to get through, and they just don't get it yet.
Until they get their ticket in the mail.
Yes, and the thing is, doesn't affect insurance or anything like that, doesn't affect a driving record, but they're not cheap.
No.
They're not cheap tickets.
They can be very, very expensive depending on your speed.
And the thing is, it's all about safety, and these are generally set up in school zones, right?
Very, very much so. Community safety zones, school zones, mostly school zones.
What else do we need to tell people about their driving? And because you mentioned inattentiveness and that cell phone, and people are still texting and driving. And I remember when seatbelts became mandatory, people were fudging on those for a while, and we seem to get most people doing that now, but still. Have you noticed over the years an uptick in people who are abiding by those laws, or are we straying the other way, unfortunately?
I would say, unfortunately, we are straying in the wrong direction. As a police service, we get a lot of complaints from our communities about speeding in their neighborhoods, residential neighborhoods, about people rolling through stop signs, not obeying the rules of the road, being distracted. Seatbelt use appears to be pretty good. We are pretty compliant in that area, which is great. But people, like I said, are rushed and they're in a hurry and they're impatient. And when they do that, they're not driving the way they should.
The one thing I remember from driving school is keep your eyes moving. So you get the big picture of what's going on around you, and I'm not sure enough people are doing that.
I would agree with you. They teach you to identify and predict, be seen out there, and create escape routes for yourself as a driver. So identifying and predicting is something that we're not very good at as a society these days.
Because we're in a hurry.
And we're distracted.
All of the time.
Yes.
Emergency calls, 911. There's a campaign on now to get people to realize what's an emergency call and what isn't, and we're still fighting that battle. So what are the stats there?
Okay, so every year our communication center receives over 68,000 calls, both emergency and administrative. 28,500 of them were for calls for service. 9,800 of them were emergency calls, but unfortunately, over 1,500 of those calls were non-emergency calls into our 911 lines, including missed dials. So if you do the math, that's well over 15% of people that are tying up emergency lines for non-emergency reasons or because they've pocket dialed with their cell phone.
And the problem is these take a lot of time to sort through because you have to verify that there isn't an emergency.
Yes.
And this all takes time.
And we are often dispatching patrol units to ensure that there is, in fact, not an emergency because we're not always able to reconnect with the caller. So that leaves us dispatching patrol units to make sure that there is, in fact, not an emergency situation.
So how do you get the message out to people, like the people who are calling and saying, I ordered food and they didn't bring me the right order? Because that's not an emergency. That's not a 911 call.
Well, if that happens live, we will tell them to hang up and call us on our non-emergency line, or not call us at all about their food, because that's not really a police matter. But, through campaigns like this, trying to get, and from speaking to you today, to get our message out to the community about calling 911 when it is in fact an emergency situation, and not when you're upset about something that is a non-emergency situation.
Yeah, people get frustrated, I guess. They don't know where to turn, and
they do.
They try other methods, and then when they don't get any satisfaction there, 911. But as the campaign states, every second counts, and this is what we're worried about.
Absolutely.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and this is something that police are very, very aware of and concerned about, not just from the mental health calls that you get, but also for the sake of your officers and staff. In
2024, as a police service, we received 552 mental health calls. These calls represent moments of vulnerability in our community and highlight the need for ongoing collaborative response strategies with emergency response services and community partners, guided by compassion, which is part of our motto: protecting with courage, serving with compassion. As far as our own members go, our members are affected by their work. Policing is very stressful, not only for frontline officers, but also for our communicators. And we did deal with a lot of very serious calls. We see a lot of very terrible things, and that has a cumulative impact over time. So we offer enhanced mental health supports to our members through private counseling and support, but also we have a new peer support team in South Simcoe, an enhanced peer support. It's called Clinically Informed Peer Support, where we're training all of our peer support members on how to properly provide support to our members under the guidance of a qualified clinician.
As far as calls about mental health, you have supports that can go out with officers who have some special experience with that to make sure that the officer can deal with it expeditiously.
That's true. We have a partnership with both the Canadian Mental Health Association in Barrie and York Support Services Network in York Region. We partner with them, and we have a unit called our Crisis Outreach and Support Team, commonly known as COAST. And COAST pairs a police officer with a crisis worker from one of our community mental health partners, and together they co-respond to calls for service with a mental health or an addiction component. COAST allows us to provide health care-led, person-centered response to individuals in their time of need. This approach helps to de-escalate individuals that are in crisis. It allows the crisis worker to conduct suicide and other mental health assessments, and helps ensure individuals are connected with supports and services that meet their individual needs. Not everyone needs to be apprehended and taken to the hospital. We often try to divert people that are in crisis from going to the hospital if we can. We will never compromise public safety. We will never compromise a person's individual safety. But apprehension is the last thing that we want to do, because it does affect their human dignity. So we try to get them the supports they need so that they can be well and functioning in our community.
And this goes to show how policing has evolved over the years, because years ago this wasn't even on the radar. But
that's true.
You identify that this is an issue, it is a problem, and it has to be dealt with, and it has to be dealt with in a special way, and you go to the extra lengths to make sure that you can do that.
Absolutely. Like in the past, it was either apprehension or no apprehension. So there was a lot of people that fell through the cracks. So, they were apprehended, taken to the hospital, they got help, but how about all the people that weren't, that didn't meet the threshold? They're still suffering, and there was no ability to connect them with the services that they need. And now we have that in place.
Okay, before we wrap up, summer is coming very soon. Message from the Chief of Police.
Well, if you're out on your boat this weekend, water on the water, beer on the pier. And when you're out there driving in our communities, be safe. We will be out there. We will be watching. So make sure that you're driving safely, abiding by the rules of the road. And please do not drink and drive.
Always good to chat with you. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
Innisfil Beach Park is getting a makeover, a long overdue facelift, which includes moving the dog park to a new location. Barrie 360's Ian McLennan got the lay of the land from Meredith Goodwin, Capital Project Manager for the town of Innisfil, and Chris Trevison, Operations Manager for Parks and Community Spaces.
This plan didn't just happen overnight, lots of consultation, lots of community engagement. And so tell us, it's 50 phased projects?
So it's actually, no, it's not 50 phases. There's about almost 50 projects included in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So back in 2020 was when the master plan vision was approved, and it included a bunch of, I'm going to call them puzzle pieces for what we residents wanted to see. There was residents, we did public open houses at the park, that sort of thing, and got a lot of surveys done, and we listened to what people wanted to see in the park or what they didn't want to see in the park and the issues that they were seeing at the park, and pulled all those things together, and then planning put together the master plan vision. But what happened with that is essentially now we need to take it and figure out how it best fits. So the next phase after that was the implementation plan, where we took different options and how those puzzle pieces could fit together and brought those forward to the public for them to be able to choose. And what ended up happening is kind of like a hybrid option. So combining some of the things that they really liked in how it was done and just kind of finessed it a bit. So what we, in 2023, council approved that concept. And now what we're in right now is the phase one of that. So they would separate it into 3 phases over about 12 years, and we're in phase one right now. So there's about 50 projects in the whole 3 phases, and they're grouped together best fit sort of thing.
So the park will be maintained and operated during those times. But what are some of the highlights that the public can expect to see? That the changes.
Sure. Yeah. So the first phase is really exciting because right off the bat, we're going to get some great improvements. There is a much needed washroom happening, permanent washroom with some outdoor showers, and the existing, I think there's about 5 beaches that are going to be kind of combined into about, I think 4. So they're going to be, all the beaches are going to be expanded. And then there's actually some beaches that are coming together to make it an even bigger space. So when people are coming to enjoy the space in the most busiest time of the summer, they're going to be able to have a better experience because there'll be more beach space, what everybody wants to see. So,
and why was this necessitated? I mean, obviously Innisfil's growing. Was there just need for improvements? Yeah,
the park has been around for a really, really long time, and it was time to. There was some infrastructure that's definitely needed to upgrade it. So we had to look at it instead of trying to fix something over here that could cause another problem. We needed to look at what needed to happen for the whole space. So then we could make those improvements. So we've got trail improvements also included in this phase. And the other phases, we've got new trees. There's a new park exit coming at 25th Side Road. So to help with traffic congestion that we're seeing in the park.
Yeah, that's been an issue, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is, I guess, a good thing in the reflection that the community appreciates what they have down there.
Yeah, 100%. And so we're also keeping a lot of the amenities that people enjoy and just making sure that we're enhancing some of the spaces that are underutilized right now. Because we also heard from residents, that live close to the park, it's so busy and we're not using it. Well, how about if we did with some of these projects, we could do add some elements in those areas that aren't used so that the park could be used during the week when it's not seeing that same tourism volume.
Now, we're going to get to the dog park too, but I'm just wondering about the cost of this project, and was the town able to latch on into any levels of other government funding?
So we are applying for a grant right now, but we aren't sure how that will work out. We hope that we're going to be successful with that grant. Right now, the budget is for the first phase is $10.3 million, and the overall project will be about $45 million in that whole build out over those 12 years.
Now, there's been a lot of chatter or barking, no pun intended, on social media about the dog park. 2 question marks about the impact with the changes at Innisfil Beach Park, some suggesting that it's going to be closed or moved, or it's too noisy with the dogs. What's the status of the park? What's going to happen?
Yeah, certainly. So back in February, there was a staff report that had gone into council. So there was some inquiries from local residents that were stipulating that there was a bit of an overabundance from the dog traffic in that far northern beach where that dog park has been stationed for use. And essentially, in kind of reflecting on what needed to happen, we had brought in a third-party consultant to do kind of a noise environmental study just to see if exactly that was indeed the case. So through that consultation with that consultant, it was determined that they were experiencing a high level of decibel, that there's like an acceptable level in which that you're able to do or have in a space. So the recommendation was that it would to be better off suited at a different location that was approximately between about 150 meters to 280 meters from a residential or a fixed setting space. So with that, council did approve, of course, that exact direction and to do so, but our commitment from operations as well as capital engineering was to try to find that next kind of viable solution for our dog beach community or dog community essentially. So
is that dog park going to remain though where it is, or is it going to be shifted then?
So the intention is to move it. So it is going to come out of that northern beach side. And again, there's some further details going in front of council of where we're thinking that next viable kind of option would be.
One of the great things that we have is that Chris and I work together on all the projects. And so even with as we go through the design process, we're working with operations to make sure that they're going to be able to maintain it at the end and that we're doing the improvements that they want to see. So, yeah, I mean, if anything happens, it comes up, we'll deal with it as it goes. But we hope to be that we've came up with a pretty good plan that we can be prepared for it.
What's the biggest challenge about, maintaining that park? Because, there's talk, the ATVs, pickup trucks, the noise. I mean, what's the biggest challenge you find with, making sure that it's a place that everybody can enjoy while respecting the community too?
Yeah, it's a great question, truthfully. And ultimately, we definitely want to look in kind of the two lenses in which that park presents is one, that local use and what that local community kind of expects out of getting out of Innisfil Beach Park is a really, really key thing, but also not kind of putting a blindfold to the fact that it is a very hot spot. It always has been for the duration of my tenure with the town of Innisfil, that it is a very hot spot for tourists to come. So you want to kind of blend that approach and how we're putting forth these projects or how we're looking at maintenance, but staff are down there now during that seasonal time, 7 days a week, working 2 shifts to ensure that we're keeping up with that that maintenance essentially. So it's a bit of a delicate balance, but there's definitely not blindfolders as to what we do and kind of our processes in which we make sure that we're kind of looking after both sides of the community.
Yeah, because we really do want local residents to be able to enjoy the space more.
Absolutely.
We've heard that they aren't using it as much as they'd like to because of that it's so busy and so populated that some people stay away, but we hope that some of these improvements
people are
we're doing
coming from elsewhere.
Yeah.
No different than what a Barrie or a Medonte experience is. It's a gem where we have our waterfront, but it's also for people who it's an escape for others too. It's kind of a fun, tough balance, I guess. Yeah. You don't want to turn tourists away either.
No, not at all. Yeah. So we want to make it enjoyable for everybody that uses the space.
Yeah, and be able to accommodate as such, right? We do obviously see those high traffic flows every single weekend, and it's always been kind of like that high intensity at that point that we just want to make sure we're accommodating for all, and the traffic flows what they need, and they have the amenities they want to use, and it's adequate space for them. So delicate balance.
It's funny because to have a washroom as being such an exciting feature is interesting, but it actually is a really exciting feature. People are kind of sick of using the portable toilets, so
that's a good thing. Okay. Great. Thanks for your time.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Since Ian spoke with Meredith and Chris, the town has earmarked unused space for the new dog park near the boat launch and close to parking. Until it's ready, dog owners can continue to make use of the current dog park at the north end of the park by Roberts Road. Big doings coming up soon for Gilda's Club. Big doings, I tell you. And so will Gilda's marketing manager and chief fundraiser, Deb James.
This event has got quite the history behind it. It's been called a lakeside event for many, many years. And it was actually one of the original fundraising events that happened that helped to open up the door. So it goes beyond our 15 years. Gilda's is 15 years old this year. This goes back a few more years because they were trying to open up that red door. So a great history behind it. So the lakeside event, we've been on the shores of Shanty Bay for many years. This year we have changed it to a Sunday afternoon with Gilda's Club. Still very posh, I might add. And we've actually moved it to beautiful Innisfil, and one of your very own, Charlie from Cool FM Mornings. Her and her husband, Rob, very graciously offering up their gorgeous, gorgeous home and their property for us to host Sunday afternoon this year. So we are just thrilled to be there. It's June the 1st. Please mark your calendars. We have sold, we're coming up to about half the tickets. So we'd like to sell 250 tickets, a very intimate event. event for, you and 250 of your closest friends in somebody's backyard. But it's going to be quite the time when you come in. You'll be greeted by our signature drink. Because it's our 15th anniversary, we wanted a real special entrance. So we have got, it's Foodworks actually. They have created a nice signature, refreshing tropical drink. It's going to be like you arrive at the resort, you get your drink, come on in.
The lavish lakeside stuff.
That's right.
Yes.
And then when you come in, you'll be greeted by our vendors. We have got Foodworks. As I said, they put together a selection of their favorite food, so I can't wait to see that. We have got the Italian eatery on board. Eclectic Cafe in Aurelia. Chef Melanie is putting together an oyster bar.
All right.
That sounds pretty decadent and yummy. We've also got Bruno's Bakery. They were there last year, and they have got some amazing decadent desserts coming back as well. So
you're pulling from everywhere in the region to help with this, which is very, very important. And you've got some special guests, too.
Well, yeah. And then on top of it, at the end of the day, did I mention a certain band called 5440?
Oh, yeah.
Will be taking to the Sunday afternoon stage. So we have had such an amazing pedigree of great of bands. Jim Cuddy has been there repeatedly. He loves the event, but we said, we can't bring Jim Cuddy back again.
Well, you could.
We could. But Stephen Page has been there. We have had Trooper was a loud one a few years ago. It's been so many amazing bands. So we said for our 15th anniversary, we got to bring our A game. We got to do this. And 5440 stepped up. So we are so excited. It's a very special performance, for those rock fans. It's 5440. It's the full band. First set is kind of a semi unplugged. They're going to work into it a little bit, and then they're going to come back, and it's 5440. They're plugged in, and they are ready to entertain.
And the nice thing about this is it's intimate. You're not sitting in an arena or a grandstand somewhere. This is 250 people, like you say, your closest friends, up close and personal. Yeah,
it's going to be an amazing time. So if you love music and you love a nice garden party, this is the perfect event. And I'm hoping you love Gilda's, because this is our fundraiser, one of our major fundraisers. Tickets are $250 a piece, but it is, whatever you want for the afternoon. Enjoy the food. Enjoy. Tony King is back. Okay, Landshark. He has been with us since the beginning. So we're just thrilled that Tony is back with his array of beverages, and there's wine pairings with the food. It's such a wonderful event. So $250 and $54.40, and you get a $100 tax receipt with that as well. So all the money raised coming back to Gilda's. We are a cancer support agency, so we work in tandem with the Cancer Care Center. RVH is right across the road, and we like to say that you get that bad news and you get a cancer diagnosis, and then come over and kind of deal with it. Get your head wrapped around it a little bit, and we're there to help with that kind of support, and for your family, and for your caregivers, and for your kids, and for the entire family who are dealing with that cancer diagnosis. So that's what we do. It's free. You just have to be a member, walk through the door, and it's free. So that's why we raise money to help those people.
And this diagnosis hits you like a ton of bricks. You don't know what to do, which is why you need to get there right away and talk to people who have been there and people who know what's going on and know how to help.
That's exactly it. And sometimes it's not even about the talking. We hear from so many people that, they come in and they sit down, and maybe it's a game of cards, or maybe they're just come in for a cup of coffee because they are waiting for somebody across the road, and they're taking a treatment of some description, and they don't even have to talk about it, but the person across from you knows exactly what you're going through, and that means a lot. Yeah.
And the door is always open. If somebody wanted to come in and just see what it's all about, even without a diagnosis, but just to know what you're doing there.
That's a great point. You can come in anytime and you just ask us for a tour. We'll take you around, show you around. What we're doing this fall for the 15th anniversary actually is having a gala at the clubhouse on our actual anniversary. It's September the 17th. But it's an opportunity for people to come through the red door. You know, normally it's reserved for people, for our members who come in and are actively using the clubhouse. But this is a real chance to come in and see the clubhouse, see what we do, talk to our programming staff, and really, have that intimate, just really try to understand what we're doing and how we're helping our family and friends here in the area. So we're looking forward to that, and that's going to be a fun time as well.
All right, June 1st, yeah. Charlie's Place. Gilda's Place, Charlie's Place, and $250. How can people get tickets?
Best way is to go to our website. It's right there, and then they'll take you right through to purchasing tickets. So Gilda's Club, SimcoeMuskoka.org. I know it's a weird one on the end, the org part. So, but
makes it stand out.
That's right. So looking forward to seeing everybody June 1st.
And if people would need more information, they can't get up there for a bit of a tour, they can browse on the website.
Everything's online.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
Joined now by Mike Campbell of the Kempenfelt Rotary. And you, sir, have a big event coming up very soon.
Yes, Dan, we do. It's the 10th, June the 10th at Georgian Downs. It's the Kempenfelt Derby. It's our version of the Kentucky Derby, so to speak. Doors open at 6 p.m. Post time is 7. This event is amazing. It's, like I said, similar to the Kentucky Derby. Attendants get all dressed up in their best bib and tucker. Everybody comes and has a great time. This year we've changed a few things with the food experience. We've got hors d'oeuvres and some fabulous food trucks for desserts. There'll be entertainment this year, which is a different twist, and of course the always entertaining fun photo booth. And let's not forget some exciting harness racing.
Yeah, so this is an event. It's not just I'm going to watch the ponies.
Right.
This is a huge undertaking for you, and then for people who are attending. They're getting dressed up. They're looking good, looking snazzy.
Absolutely, it's one of my favorite events of the year, actually, because how often do you get to go get dressed up and go to the racetrack? Mm-hmm. So the beauty of it all is we're raising money for Hospice Simcoe. We've been doing that since the start. Hospice has been a great partner through this event. They've gone above and beyond to help us to make this experience an everlasting one. You can buy a ticket, you can sponsor a horse, you can get your friends together and sponsor a horse, and actually you can sponsor a whole race if you want to race against your friends. Tickets are $85. Sponsor a horse, $500, includes 2 tickets to the event. It's just a great night out. Every year we go, my wife comes home and says how great a time she had, how she liked how everybody was all dressed up, the big hats and the bow ties.
And can we do it again next weekend?
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And again, like I said, when I watched the Kentucky Derby on TV, it just got it fresh in my mind again. It's like, there they are, even dressed up in the rain.
Yeah. How much planning goes into this? You start as soon as one's over, you start for the next year?
Absolutely. The minute we finish this year, we'll start on planning for next year. It's a big endeavor for our club. It's a big fundraiser, as I said, for Hospice Simcoe. And I hope to see everybody out there with their best bib and tucker on.
All right, and you have lots of information on a website somewhere, I'm sure.
Correct. Kempenfeltrotary.ca. If you go there, click on the Derby website or page, you will find everything you need to know and how to buy tickets as well as sponsor horses.
Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck with the Derby. What are you wearing?
Oh, that's a secret.
I just wanted to help other people, figure it out if they've not been before.
That's right. They're at the post.
They're off. Thanks, Mike.
All right.
And that's our program for this week. Thanks to Ian for his input, to Matt Ladder for his technical touch, and to you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to What Barrie's Talking About, rate it, review it. You can also keep up with What Barrie's Talking About on Blue Sky and X at Barrie360, on our website, Barrie360.com, and there's our daily Kickstart podcast available from any streaming service and on our website. I'm Dan Blakely. Hope you'll join us again next week.